Hey, hello, and welcome to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. Good evening. Thanks so much for coming back to another episode of our show. And we do have a lot to get to tonight, so why don't we jump right in, and here's where you can find us online if you're interested in these sorts of things, first and foremost. Our website, ahpod.com, that's AHHPOD.com. You can find us there for information about the show, along with our blog, which I can say will be updated more and more as the year progresses. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. You just search for America's Hometown Horror. You'll find us right on there. And you can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com if you have some feedback or topics for the show, whatever you want to talk about. You can find us there as well. Also, I should mention our two partners in crime, first of which is horrorfacts.com, Horror Facts Magazine. Find them at horrorfacts.com. It's a great resource for all things horror, including news, reviews, editorials, and other horror podcasts, including America's Hometown Horror. And also, last but certainly not least, we are partnering with Fangoria, the first name in fright since 1979, to give all of our listeners an exclusive 20% discount on any merchandise and first-time magazine subscriptions. Just head on over to shop.fangoria.com/hometownhorrorpod or use the code hometownhorrorpod at checkout for that 20% discount on all merchandise and first-time magazine subscriptions. So head on over to fangoria.com, our partners in crime, and get yourself some nice merch to make yourself look fly as we head into spring and summertime. All right, so now that's out of the way. Again, my name is Mike. Thanks for listening to another episode of the show. And I am happy to say that we have all of our co-hosts back in studio tonight.
Everybody
Andrew,
in the
Kat, Matt,
tipsy.
lady, gentlemen, hello.
What up?
How's it going, guys? What's new?
Chilling.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Not
missed
too
last
much,
week.
That's okay.
Living my best life.
So, since you missed last week, Matt, a couple things I wanted to ask you about. First and foremost, what do you think of spring?
I like spring. So this was better than I was anticipating. No offense, Kat. I didn't think you picked a bad movie, but it was just looking at it, I was like, okay, it seems kind of like a romantic movie, which it definitely was.
Certainly was.
It was also a lot funnier than I anticipated it being. I laughed out loud multiple times, especially in the first half hour. The monster in the movie was fucking serious. That was legit. The effects were really, really, really good. And also just shout out to Kat for picking a movie with a bunch of hot naked chicks in it. I liked it. Definitely it would...
Two thumbs way up in true Kat fashion?
Yeah. It has some good rewatch value. It was a sweet story. And you know what? The kid in it, as troubled as he was, my heart was right in there with him. I'm like, this poor guy. He just wants to love this chick no matter what. So it was a sweet story, but it had its gruesome parts to it. Good transformation scenes. I think it hit a lot of cool. So good pick.
Thank you. Yeah. I won't even say that I just Googled.
You already said that.
Well, we did.
I know. I said that last week.
That's okay. Hey, ended up being a good pick.
Thank you.
Literally, there was a horror movie called Spring. So
yes,
there we go.
It has
Would you
sprung.
look at that?
Spring has sprung.
Yet again. Matt, since you also weren't here last week, I have to ask you about the Hometown Haunts and Hops Festival, my friend. Are you excited for it? What do you think? Are you pumped?
Of course I am. I'm fired up.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. I knew you would be. Are you ready to do a live podcast in front of a room full of people at Mayflower?
Yeah. I sing music in front of people.
See, okay, so I said that to you guys, that Matt would probably be on board with this because he does it all the time. He performs in front of lots of people at Mayflower. So
that's a lot harder, too.
I think, you know what's funny is, I think this is actually going to be a little more nerve-wracking for me because this is, I'm not just singing, 90s hits. I'm going to be, nerding out about horror movies.
That's true.
But we're hoping that the crowd that we have is also going to be, there to hear us do that.
To nerd
so,
out. Yeah.
Which is also, we're going to have the undivided attention. I'm going to be in the fucking zone, so I'm fired up.
I don't think personally that if we are doing a live panel podcast, which I think we're going to be, there's going to be anyone in the audience that's really critical. I think this is going to be a lot of people that are interested in hearing what we have to say, which is mind-boggling.
Wild.
Mind-boggling to me. But yeah, I mean, I was talking to, so again, if you haven't heard about this before, it's the Hometown Haunts and Hops Festival. It'll be on October 28th of this year at Mayflower Brewing Company in Plymouth, Massachusetts. We're working on some guests, among other things, and we're co-planning it with Andy from Inebriart And you've heard that name before because we are on the Inebriart Podcast Network. You can hear Andy on the Inebriart Podcast along with the Old Colony Cast and the Bar Talk Podcast, which I should give him a shout out because he is in Las Vegas right now for the Bar Talk Podcast.
Oh, he is.
And me and you
for
have both
2 years
been
in a
on
row.
Bar Talk.
Yep, we both have. Yeah, Matt and I have both been on Bar Talk. It's a fun show. If you are a worker of the bar and restaurant industry, it's a good listen. So it's an awesome show. But yeah, we're working with them on this event, and Andy seems to think it's going to be pretty big. So I am inclined to agree with him.
Yeah, I think it's to be fun.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Horror
Either way,
is having such a huge this is going to be huge.
being able to start something in our community, that we're involved in, that's horror related, is a lot of fun. And you know what? Hey, even if it isn't big, it's still going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for it, and we're looking to make it a yearly thing. So again, you can head on over to Inebriart's page, which is inebriart.com. And if you go to their October event page, you can click on the link and buy tickets, which are now just $5. And who knows, they may go up in the future as more and more people commit to coming to this. You should get in on that $5 ticket while it's still available. That's
We're
what
gonna
I'll
be
say.
like the first pilgrims.
Do you?
Trying it out, see what happens. Imagine if there's like 5 hecklers that just show up at it and just yelling us the whole
That'd be
time.
sick.
Dude, I'm actually gonna pay
No.
some people to just show up and heckle us.
It'll be
Can you heckle
great.
Mike the entire time?
I don't think it'll be that hard to find people to heckle us personally,
no.
but
I'm sure our friends will do
I
it.
was going to
Seth
say,
Greg
we have a
and
few
all
friends
that.
and
They'll be like, ah,
absolute
idiots.
boo, boo.
Hiss, hiss.
You boo puppets. You hiss villains in a silent movie. Guys, interesting piece of news I saw today on Bloody Disgusting. It might have been yesterday. I know that all of you are not as big of X-Files fans as I am. Ever heard of a director named Ryan Coogler? He directed Black Panther. He directed the first 2 Creed movies, I believe, among other movies. And he is reportedly involved in a reboot of the X-Files.
Show or movie?
Show, apparently.
you're
A
gonna do it,
TV show reboot of the
That's kinda
X-Files.
sick.
So I'm interested in that. I love the X-Files, one of my favorite TV shows of all time. So yeah, I'm interested to see where the direction of this franchise goes, because I feel like the last 5 years ago was the last episode of the X-Files with Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, and I feel
Only
like the last
5 years ago?
only 5 years
Holy
ago,
fuck.
and I feel like the most recent season was not received very well. It's the end.
Is that a 20-something?
At least. There's a lot. There's at least 16 seasons on Hulu, plus 2 seasons. 2 revival seasons on Fox. So it's a lot.
Oh, so there could have been a gap.
And it's one of those shows, like, it's a 90s show, so each season has like 23
million
episodes.
fucking episodes.
It's unbelievable how much X-Files. It really is. Like, I started doing a rewatch over a year ago, and I'm only in the middle of like season 4. I admittedly have not watched again in a while, but like there's so many fucking episodes. And 2 movies.
Yep.
So it's just like
It's pretty much essentially like there was 32. Because most shows are 11 episodes,
Yeah.
10, not even 20.
You're certainly not wrong, and you're probably there.
If you're South Park, apparently you're only doing episodes.
Yeah, that's bullshit,
is that what
huh?
it is? Yeah.
Yeah, so that, like, I can't believe that South Park's done after 6 episodes this season. They're calling it
With
a season.
3 dark weeks?
Yeah, what the fuck? I feel like
Jesus.
that's a weird thing for them.
Hey,
but
you know
anyway.
what? They're getting paid a shit ton of money.
Yeah, they're probably
they are. They're probably resting on their laurels at this point. So, anywho, speaking of 90s TV, guys, let's talk about a little Yellow quick.
Yeah.
Down for that? All right.
One piece of news you did miss, though.
Yes.
If you're gonna
Oh, okay.
bring it
I
up.
know you mentioned this.
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead. You lead the way.
I read an article somewhere, but Amazon Prime is, I'm 99% sure, picking up a show based on.
Wow. Okay.
Shout out to our boy Justin, who loves that show and was on our Event Horizon episode.
He did
But,
share
oh my
a
God.
great little appreciation post.
Yeah.
Just like it was just one of those things like, what an underrated movie.
So underrated.
Artwork. Yeah.
Shout out to Sam Neill. Get well soon.
Yeah, we talked about that
He's
last
in
week,
remission when I looked
He
at
is.
the thing. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So.
Fantastic.
too. Good. I found myself thinking more and more about Event Horizon since we saw the Outwaters.
Yeah.
But more on that in a little bit. I'll put a pin in that. Let's go back to Yellowjackets. Guys, this is one of the most talked about TV series. It premiered at the end of 2021 and finished at the beginning of 2022. And now we're in March of 2023 and we're getting an entire new season. The first episode of the show premiered, depending on where you watched it, either on last Friday or last Sunday. Apparently, if you are subscribing to Showtime through Paramount Plus, you're going to be able to watch every episode on Fridays. But if you're a regular Showtime subscriber, you're going to be able to watch it every Sunday, which is a weird, convoluted way of releasing the show. That's besides the point. I'm going to be watching it on Fridays every week because this show's fucking awesome. I think it was. We talked about this, I think, on the Future of Horror episode that we did multiple other times. But Yellowjackets is such an interesting show. It's really cool. The dynamic between the 90s stuff with the plane crash and also the new stuff that happens in present day. I love this show. Kat and I are in the middle of rewatching season 1, but obviously we've seen the first episode of season 2. I know we all have as well. Guys, thoughts on Yellowjackets as a whole and what you thought about the first episode of season 2? Who'd like to go first?
I'll go first.
Maddie.
I heard about the show on Colors of the Dark, and it was already like a few episodes in. Rebecca McHenry was like really talking it up, and I started watching it, and I actually got Sarah to kind of join in with me on this one, which I was surprised. She started watching it, and the drama of it was so good that she was able to keep up, and like there wasn't like an issue with how horrific it was. But we're kind of getting to a point now that I'm curious if she's going to keep hanging out. She's worried about, are we doing spoilers, do you think? Like,
no spoilers.
No spoilers. All right. Well,
So
she has some concerns about like the future of some of the situations taking place in the 90s that she's like, I'm not sure if I want to really see like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going somewhere.
It is.
It's going somewhere.
But there was like it was funny. We watched the new episode Monday night. We were a little late to the party, but we've been busy. We had a busy weekend, and so we watched it Monday night, and we got through the episode. We were like really wrapped up in it, and then like the final shot that happens, we both kind of gave each other like a. We were like, oh my god! Like,
Yeah,
are you fucking serious? So it was very interesting to see it, and but yeah, like I said, Sarah's kind of like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I really want to keep watching the show. It's getting a little past her threshold. So,
With the whole last shot of the most recent episode.
yeah, and just like she's got
fair
some,
enough.
Yeah, she's got
No
some,
spoilers if you haven't seen.
Yeah. So, but she's a little worried about where it's going.
Okay. Kat, talk to me about Yellowjackets.
I really like it. Two thumbs way up. Yep,
God.
it's interesting. It's definitely living up to his expectations. I feel like I'm now forgetting because we're rewatching the first one while we're watching the new one. Which ones are which? Because I feel like I'm rewatching them, but also kind of like watching them. I haven't seen them.
It's like I'm rewatching
That's the
them,
most
but if I'm
Cat
watching them
description of
again.
anything I've ever heard in my entire life. I mean, I don't really know how to respond to that.
Yeah,
Um,
but I like it. It's good. Yeah, I keep watching it.
what do you like
And,
better, The Last of Us or Yellowjackets?
Yellowjackets by far.
Okay.
It's
I agree.
Good
yeah,
answer. Yeah, it's
its
not
own
even close
unique
for me.
story. I mean,
And we talked about this last week, Matt, and I know you weren't here. I feel like Yellowjackets is more of a mystery box type show.
It is,
And like you want to know what's going
original.
on. Yeah, it's original, and Last of Us obviously is based on a game.
And it's also a zombie story.
It's a
Right.
post-apocalyptic story
been
with
done.
great characters. It's been done, but Yellowjackets I feel like is something new and fresh and interesting.
And it's a different group of people to be subjected to environment. I
Right.
think.
Yes.
Like you're dealing with like a bunch of teenage girls,
yeah.
which it's just there might be something else like that, but I've never seen that. Like so,
Well, I feel like you haven't really seen too much horror or thriller stuff set from the perspective, at least in one timeline, of teenage girls where they're not being killed by a slasher. I feel like it's
Right,
just like
yeah.
them, like they're actually like the main characters.
it's a survival hole.
It's
It's,
just
like
like-
it's like
yeah.
almost like The Thing if it was a bunch of teen girls.
You're absolutely
Right.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. I mean, and also I feel like it's one of the few shows that's out there that has almost an entirely women cast. And the
Very fucking good.
I was going to say
Yeah.
the adult version of the teenage girls. I mean, you could not find four
Yeah.
more accomplished actresses to play these characters, which is awesome.
I am
And they were all like prominent in the 90s, which is really cool. So, sorry, you were saying?
I am excited that you still talks of it Lost.
So I was happy. I'm happy you brought that up. So
Because I love Lost.
I mean, it already is similar to Lost.
it's
It
very
is.
so
It's a lot.
okay. So let's talk
Plane
about this
crash,
a
they're
little bit, and I want to
surviving.
bring this back up because I want to ask Andrew something first, and then we'll bring this back up. So, Lost,
you
obviously,
watch Lost?
Never.
yeah, Lost is
watch Lost?
yeah.
Ah.
So Kat and I are the only ones that have seen it. Lost
four
was a
times.
good show until it wasn't good. Kat is obsessed with the show. I acknowledge that. I understand. I was not as much of a fan, but it's hard to look at Yellowjackets and say that there are not similarities between Lost and Yellowjacket. A plane crash, survival in the wilderness, multiple timelines, potentially some supernatural things going on in the wilderness where they're trapped. People may not be what they seem to be. I think personally, and this I'll bring this up. You know what? I'll wait on that. So yeah, I think there are some definite similarities between Lost and Yellowjackets. I hope that Yellow ends much better than Lost. It sucked.
I like the end of Lost.
Yeah, I know you did. It was not my favorite thing in the world. But anyway, Andrew, Yellowjackets.
I fucking love this show. It's so good. It's so well done, and it's like we said, like you don't really know where the fuck it's gonna go. There's multiple directions it could go in. Like you were saying, is it gonna be like thing, or is it gonna just be a wild cannibalistic show? Like, we had the Chilean soccer team Alive. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And could it be that? It's very open. I think there could be a lot. I gotta say, the Shauna and Jeff relationship. It's one of the weirdest fucking
Dude, I love me some Jeff. I love Jeff.
That's the weirdest relationship I've ever. It's
Yep.
like uncomfortable kind of, but it's awesome at the same time.
That was one thing Sarah was just like, these people are like fucked.
Fuck.
Yeah.
They're the most fucked people I've ever met. I was like, this is some wild shit going on.
But it leads you to believe, like, how much does he know?
Right.
He has to know.
Well, in season 1, he claimed to have read Shauna's journals.
Yeah.
So he claimed to have known everything that happened. But I also don't think that Sean is the type that would have written everything in her journals that actually happened, which I think we're about to find out.
Unreliable narrator, yeah.
Absolutely.
Not sure if this is spoiler territory,
Go ahead.
but I was also very excited to not see Jackie again.
I see. I'm surprised that you would say that because Kat actually, when we were watching episode 2, was like, wow, she's really pretty. She has big eyes. And I was like, yeah, Andrew probably loves because you love big eyes.
She's probably one of the most annoying people I've ever seen on television.
That scene made us both audibly gasp.
It was good.
When it transitioned from her imaginary conversation to her frozen dead body.
It was really weird.
We were like, it was just such a shock. We were like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. So
you're like, oh, what did this happen earlier?
it was cool to like. I don't get to watch a lot of horror things with my wife, and that she's like invested in. So to have us both kind of react the same way to multiple things, I was like, yes, this is fucking great. Yeah. And I'm gonna be really sad if she's a jump ship. Because
I hope she doesn't for your sake.
She might, because I think it's going to get a little too...
So the showrunners have apparently said it is going to get weird this season. It's going to get weirder than it did in season 1.
Get
which
weird.
I'm like, yep, I'm on fucking... Give me all the weird shit. What I was going to say, so, obviously, I think we're probably going to cover this show as we record a weekly podcast. We probably will talk about the latest episode of Yellowjackets, as we did with The Last of Us, from time to time, as long as we're recording week to week. But we'll see. Anywho... have any of you guys kept up with any of the fan theory to Yellowjackets as to where it's going to? No. Do you want me to tell you about any of them?
I don't want to hear them personally.
I don't want to know them till after the season. Yeah. Then I'll be interested to hear that.
Okay.
Because then I don't want my...
This is such a mysterious show that, like, hearing that kind of stuff... Like, I got a bit of it during season 1, and it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth because some of them were right, and I was a little upset to watch them play out. Yeah. So.
Okay.
I'm going to vote no.
All right, fair enough. You know what? Then I won't tell you guys. Anyway.
So let's do the watch list.
So that's Yellowjackets, and you can watch it either on, I guess, Paramount Plus, Paramount, Showtime, Showtime Plus, Showtime Plus Plus, Paramount Plus Plus, the whole 9. So Yellowjackets is fucking awesome, and you should totally watch it. Disney Plus, who knows? Disney Plus. All right, guys.
Are you watching on Disney Plus?
No, it's a
Disney
joke.
Squared.
I have the Showtime app. I don't know when the episode actually hits that.
So it's my understanding that you can only watch it early if you have the Showtime add-on on Paramount Plus.
See, now I have Paramount on Prime, and then I have Showtime on Prime.
So
both separate.
Doesn't count.
That's stupid.
Doesn't count.
That's fucking backwards.
Like I'm paying for Showtime this month on Google TV.
I'll be watching it before we record.
Yeah,
either
absolutely.
way.
Just don't talk about it more.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So I know I have a few things that I watched this week, as well as Kat. Andrew, you want to go first?
Yeah, I got like one watch.
Sure.
I went and saw 65, the Adam Driver movie.
I'm excited to hear about this.
It was fine. It clocked in an hour and 30 minutes, perfect length. I feel like they kind of mailed it in on the plot and the dialogue. And see this movie for dialogue or plot. Fucking dinosaurs.
Those dinosaurs, baby.
The dinosaurs were cool. I don't know how
Dinosaurs.
accurate they were. I think it's pretty clear now that most dinosaurs had feathers. And
Fuck that shit.
None
My
of these
dinosaurs have.
they were big,
reptile
scary.
skin.
Oh yeah, they had some weird creatures in here. One of them was like a half alligator. It looked like a reptilian, like walking on all fours. It was weird. The T-Rexes walked on all.
Wow.
That was
okay.
really weird. It's your typical newer show or movie now. Adam Driver plays a father who there's a crash. There's only one other survivor, and it's a 9-year-old girl, and it's Adam Driver protecting this child, female child, throughout the show. I'm like, is
So
this
like the
another
plot
movie?
of The
They're like,
Mandalorian, The Last of Us,
it's
and
like
every other
everything.
Pedro
I'm like,
Pascal
oh, okay,
movie. Yeah,
that's
yep,
cool.
yep,
They didn't
taking
speak the same
it.
language
Yep.
though, so that didn't help with the dialogue.
Okay.
If you go into watching this movie and just know that it's just going to be dinosaurs and some dumb shit and some wild fuck, like there's some scenes you're like, that is the most ridiculous scene I've ever seen.
I've ever seen. Yeah.
It's entertaining.
See.
I liked it. There's no filler really. It's pretty to the point, and it like, it gets going after about.
It's
20
a movie
minutes.
about time travel involving dinosaurs. There should not be much, unless Christopher Nolan's directing it. So yes, I'm glad to hear it.
But also another error in the movie. I feel like
Was Christopher Nolan there?
No, the year's wrong. They say 65 million, either here or there.
What fucking idiots, dude.
Yeah, like you think you would at least figure that out. Like you're doing this. It should have been 66 million years old.
65 sounds fucking cool.
65 does, but 60.
Yeah.
Because then you can be like, I can't drive 65. But no,
65. You've been listening to way too much Fantasy Footballers podcast, my friend.
Yes.
We're Van Halen.
Yep, that too.
Or whatever.
All right, so that's 65, which you can now see in theaters, which I'm sure will also be streaming soon, along with
Yeah, I would
Scream
wait.
6.
I would.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good movie to see in theaters because it's one of those big movies. But
What looked better, the dinosaurs in 65 or the dinosaurs in Jurassic World?
Jurassic
Dominion?
Park.
Yeah.
Jurassic World Dominion.
Jurassic World.
That movie's
Dominion.
terrible. Not that movie. That was the
movie
worst special
was
effects
terrible.
I've ever seen in a movie before.
Well, you got your feathered dinosaurs, Dominion.
Yeah, you could do it right, not just use some
Dinosaurs.
fucking like bush league.
I thought that
Whatever
one
it is.
feathered dinosaur in there was pretty scary. The
I
one
think
that was
most dinos-
yeah,
yeah.
picking her out of the lake and shit. Fucking weird.
The scariest dinosaurs in this movie,
Did
are
you
the
see
small
some-
ones.
You
What?
didn't see 65, did you?
No, I'm asking because I've only seen Jurassic World and I haven't
I
seen
hated that movie.
yeah,
That was
okay.
so garbage.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. They wasted Jeff Goldblum.
This
and
movie
Sam
was
Neill
10
and
times
Warner.
better than that because that movie's so bad.
Wow. Okay, 10 times better.
Then Jurassic World Dominion. That movie was terrible.
Yeah, it was
they
bad.
just like recycled a movie and just had terrible special
It stunk.
effects.
It did stink out loud. Yeah. It lit a fart off a birthday cake, as Matt
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, dude.
The most awesome burn
Yeah.
I've heard in recent memory.
It was like lighting a fart off a birthday cake.
Love
That's
it.
what it looked like.
Love it.
Like
Love
someone
it.
did that to canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason that Matt brought that diss up in the first place was because I watched a movie called Megan, which you two talked about in this podcast. By you two, I mean Andrew and Matt, because you both saw it. I saw the unrated version on Peacock as well when Kat was out with Bridget. And wow, as I said to you guys, what a fucking nothing burger that movie
Pee-pee
was.
poo-poo.
Pee-pee poo-poo stinky dada boo-boo stinky pants. Oh my god. I mean, some of the kills were okay. Nothing ever would have been like, oh my god, this should totally be an unrated movie. It was just regular gore in an R-rated movie. But my question to you guys would be, like, there were a couple cool scenes with Megan, like the end where she has like the chunk taken out of her head and there's like hair missing and stuff. She looks kind of cool. There's a rumor that Universal Studios is going to make a Megan haunted house this year at Halloween Horror
course
Nights.
they
which
fucking
no
will,
fucking
Sounds
dude.
terrible.
Yeah.
They have a partnership with Blumhouse, so we'll see. But anyway, like
Bumhouse.
dude, like how? I feel like I
Was
get
it just a
the
giant
hype.
waste of time?
It was a giant waste of time. Yeah, what a nothing burger. Like I don't understand.
I love Nothing Burger.
I feel like
I love
this
that
was-
phrase. That's very,
But obviously,
very
like,
important.
This is directed. I feel like we're adults talking about horror movies. This is clearly a movie directed at teenagers, right?
It is. And
So we're being overly critical of a movie
Yes.
directed at teenagers.
That's
right?
an important factor because this is 100% like a movie that like my 13-year-old needs.
Correct.
This
Gateway
is like
horror.
This is like your next
Yeah,
step.
it's
Well, this
gateway
is like
horror.
your
So
next step from gateway
I
horror, 'cause
tried
there's
not
some
to
fucking
be.
shit in this
I
movie.
tried not to be like.
There is
too,
some graphic shit in this
Yeah,
movie.
I tried not to be like too like overly fucking hate for this movie because it's not good. But it's just like a 13 to like 16-year-old kid would probably like enjoy the movie and be stoked and enjoy it and like. But that's important because that leads you to wanting more. You get that bit of gore. You get that elevator kill. You know what I mean? Like you have those, but that's it. And so now you're like, oh, I get like a full 90 minutes. And next thing you know, you're watching, Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah. You are correct though. I'm being too harsh in this movie. I
would say it's not good.
I would say
it's not good.
Here's what I'll say: this movie is not my particular taste. I didn't like it. How about that? I don't feel the need to bash the filmmakers because it clearly has done very well for itself. 2 questions that I had. First, do you guys remember when PG-13 movies? This was a PG-13 movie when it was released in theaters, correct? I wonder if it was because I watched the unrated version. There were multiple fucks.
Yeah.
Multiple fucks.
It's unrated, so that's why.
Okay,
if it was rated,
but like they changed the language for this version. Like it was.
How many F words can you get away with now? I think you can get away with 2 in PG-13. I think you can get away with
more
2.
than 2, though, right?
Because if you hear more than 2 as under 13, you're going to be corrupted forever.
You're already
going to do drugs and kill yourself.
Yeah.
Very scheming things.
Is that too much?
Can I make a comparison to this movie?
Sure.
Which off the top doesn't really seem like it makes sense, but this movie was done very well in a different version. Hatching was
great.
I think that is a very similar movie to this style of movie. If you really think about it and look back,
having that kind of like
she has
friend
that
is
probably a bad influence and turns out to be a bad influence. Also, Hatching had
Oh yeah.
Also had way better storytelling.
Just a fantastic story. So this type of movie can be done right because I feel like that type of movie, Hatching, could be a gateway.
Or is that from Iceland?
Yeah.
Maybe they
have a different.
They might have a better idea. Of how
obviously,
to make this movie.
Again, this movie is not directed at us. Like all 4 of us as seasoned horror fans, it's done extremely well for itself. It's made millions upon millions upon millions.
It's directed
at
morons.
It's another hit for Blumhouse, another hit for James Wan. Which actually, I think of everything, I'm the most disappointed that James Wan was involved.
It's a cash grab.
Well, you know what? He did I think he did a very good job with Malik.
I love Malik.
He took a big swing.
Phenomenal.
And that was such an out of pocket movie for the time, and especially what he had been. So this was kind of a for him opinion.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens because I know he's
but
obviously
all this could be is a cash grab to fund another really fucking sick.
Yeah, it's
movie.
100% a cash grab.
It's absolutely it's possible because he always
There's
has
going to be Megan 2 and then Megan 3.
Yeah.
You know,
there's already
a sequel that's fucking.
There's already a Megan 2.0 greenlit.
That's going to be like Megan 4, the Rebirth.
Literally.
It's going to be, and it's just going to turn into Rebecca. New one. Oh, it's Annabelle.
Well,
it's Rebecca.
Again, you never know because
Annabelle versus Megan.
Yeah. Oh God, kill me now. James Wan has his paws in a lot of different things, so I he'll be due for as long as it's not another Conjuring movie, both of which are already coming out. Anywho, real quick before we talk about something else, Catherine, that I want to talk to you about. I did have a chance, Matt, Andrew, Kat, to watch the additional Outwaters content that was released on Screambox. Okay, so there's 2 things out now. It's combined about an hour of content. One of the features is called Card Zero, which is 35 minutes and is strictly taking place before the events of the Outwater. So this is, if you envision like the first half hour of the Blair Witch Project, where it's just character. This is additional character. I can see why this was not included in the initial movie because the movie was long enough as it is, and I don't think that most of the stuff needed to be there, but it gives you a little bit more backstory on Robbie's character in the movie. I think he mentions at one point in the Outwaters that he broke up with his boyfriend. He moved to L.A., or I don't know. I might be when we talk to him, but I think it's in the movie as well. But anyway, so this shows him with his boyfriend and their relationship, which essentially led to him going out to filming the music video. So it's a lot of backstory. The more interesting of the 2 is called File VL624, which is supposedly the last part of the footage recovered by the police department that shows essentially more of what happened. It's kind of cool. The only thing that I found particularly interesting, and I don't really consider this a spoiler because most people that have seen this movie don't even know the shit's out there, but it's essentially the only thing in there that I found kind of cool. There's a point where it seems there's it's listed as distorted voice when you're watching it. It sounds almost like the desert is talking to Robbie. Because it's all shot from Robbie's point of view. So it sounds like he's like saying like weird, ominous. Might give you a little bit more insight as to what. But it sounds like it's the desert is a character as a whole. Like it's weird or some cosmic force is speaking to. And again, you're not meant to know if it camera audio or if he's actually hearing it, because it's unclear. But
Well, I mean, found footage is supposed to be what it is.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be.
There's
insane
there's no inner monologue. That is
what's
what's
said
happening.
or happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah,
It's
maybe,
interesting.
maybe
We
so.
said, how long was that little bit?
That part was 25 minutes. Of the two, I'd recommend you watch that one.
Okay.
So it's interesting. That's at least the more interesting one. So so you can find both of those. They're streaming exclusively on Screambox. If you just search for the Outwaters on Screambox, or the Screambox section is on Prime, you'll
Excellent.
that stuff. So that's that. And then Kat, you and I had the opportunity last night to watch Knock at the Cabin, which you
Yes.
can stream on exclusively on Peacock right now. Peacock. Kat,
Yes.
talk to me about Knock at the Cabin.
Really, really good.
It was really good. Yeah.
Okay.
I liked it.
Not really, really good.
Not really, really good. It was good though. It was entertaining. It was funny because when it first started, I don't know why. Maybe it was like when was this movie? It was like recently.
Like
I don't know why.
Weeks ago.
The
Yeah.
whole like look of it.
I think this was set in present day.
Oh no! It was not. No, was it?
The credits or the movie?
No.
Both
Well,
the credits
whatever.
and the movie.
Anyways,
Both.
She was
Both
curious
were
when
set
the
in
credits were
present day.
made. The credits were
it
made
was-
30 years
the
ago.
idea of the movie was really interesting. The whole storyline, the kind of guessing.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I haven't seen
I
it
haven't
yet.
seen it
Well,
yet.
yeah, I think you guys actually would really like it because it's more of a thriller.
Very tense. Very tense.
Very
Yeah.
intense. You were kind of at the edge of your seat. I was like, oh, that was an easy like hour and 20 minutes. Mike's like, oh, it was an hour and 40 minutes. Oh,
Perfect time.
Okay, well, that went by fast for me. So this was a good movie.
So, guys, it's the latest movie from, say what you will about him as a filmmaker, but he's had a few hits recently. The latest movie from M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
Shyamalan. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that he did that. It doesn't
Neither of
really
you guys
seem like-
see... Sorry, go ahead.
It
Go
doesn't
ahead.
really seem like a movie.
Well,
See, I think it's
first movie
the
he's
perfect
made-
movie for
It's
him.
the first
to do.
movie he's made that's
Yeah, that he
his
didn't
own
write.
source material.
Yeah, he didn't
No.
write it.
Yeah.
This is based
that's
on a
right.
book by a Massachusetts guy named Paul Tremblay, who actually he started writing famous novels. He was a math teacher at either Coyle and Cassidy or something like that.
It was
Yeah.
a place.
Yeah.
It closed, but
I don't know.
it was a
I
place.
forget what school he taught at, but yeah, the book
Random thing
is
to know.
I've read it, Andrew. Yep, I know, I'm a nerd. The book is different, a lot different, and a lot more bleak. I would say.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this last time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the movie is still pretty bleak. I would say that it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So
I
It's
like
an-
a good bleak movie.
yeah.
It's-
Lovely
So
movies.
either any of you guys see Old?
See, I haven't seen that yet, and I keep scrolling past it. And was that actually good?
I haven't seen.
I heard
haven't
it was so bad that
Oh, okay.
I skipped it.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
probably why.
I
I'm
didn't
skipping
hear
it.
a single good thing about it.
All right. Were either of you guys a fan of the movie that equal to Split and Glass or whatever it's called?
No.
The Split and Unbreakable. It was called Glass, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I like Split.
I didn't.
Last
I
was
like
didn't.
meh.
Split.
I personally didn't like any of those movies.
Yeah.
I like
Really?
Unbreakable, like the.
I didn't like Unbreakable at all.
I like
Really?
No.
I don't think so.
The Sixth Sense was fine. Signs was good.
Signs was great.
That
Sixth
was
Sense
it.
was
The
great.
Visit's good.
Visit.
Yeah.
I liked.
I
I
didn't
didn't-
like The
I
Visit.
did not
I
like that.
hated.
I did
Lady
not
in the
like the
Water.
I
Village.
hated Lady in the Water. I
What
hated.
about The Happening?
Hated. The Happening is the
Garbage
might
movie.
be actually without hyperbole. The Happening might be the worst movie ever.
No.
May we remind you that
The
Mark
Room might
Wahlberg
be-
committed
the
a
plot-
hate
Tony
crime.
Wiseau, The Room would be.
Mark
worse.
Wahlberg sucks and he committed a hate crime. Fuck him. That movie sucks. He died because plants were trying to get people to commit suicide.
Plants.
So fuck him and his
It was a
stupid
good
ass.
premise. It just missed the
Good
point.
premise. Who are you?
Yeah, it's
Take
like
that hood off.
nature.
No,
Nature.
it's cutting off the
fucking-
circulation
nature fighting
to your brain.
back.
There is no way that was a good premise. That movie sucks. It stinks out
It was a
loud.
good premise. It had terrible acting,
Terrible
terrible dialogue, and
premise.
terrible
Dude,
direction.
Actually,
so
well,
yeah,
it does have terrible acting. I'll
the
give you
premise
that.
is the
Mark
only thing that
Wahlberg
actually
and
is
Zoe
pretty good.
Deschanel.
Mark
That's not-
Wahlberg committed a hate crime.
Dude, Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel is not a good idea for anything in the world. Why would you ever do
Zoe
it?
Deschanel's good in Elf and
That's like the
Girl.
Eric Andre meme, like gunshot. Why would anybody do this? Why would anybody cast Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel in a movie together and think that that would work out well? M. Night Shyamalan,
Well, they were
ding
both-
dong.
they were both pretty
fuckface.
big at that time.
Fuck that fucking dude. They no fucking way.
Yeah, they were. Everybody fucking
All
loved
right, all
Smart
right, all right.
Wahlberg.
Yeah,
We're on
sorry,
a time
sorry. I
restriction.
know,
We
sorry.
are on a time restriction.
Yeah, we
That's
gotta-
true.
we gotta
That's true.
move,
So
baby.
anyway,
Move.
yeah. So that's Knock at the Cabin, which I would recommend, is what I'm saying. Fuck M. Night Shyamalan's. All the other talk that we were just doing, right? You would
Fair enough.
also agree, Kat?
What?
Recommended?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right, I gotta
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah. You should
Matt?
watch it.
That's what I got.
Andrew won't
Matt,
watch
you're up
it.
next.
I have a few. I'm gonna try to blast through these.
Don't feel like you need to.
I do.
We've started our topic later in the evening.
I watched a movie called House, which I just picked up the Criterion Collection Blu-ray. It's a Japanese movie from 1977 about a schoolgirl and her group of 5 other friends moving into her aunt's house to find out that it's haunted. This movie is fucking wild.
What's it called?
House.
House.
Technically. In Japan.
Oh, gotcha.
It is so insane the way it is filmed, and just like it is so like over the top, out of control, to the point that it's like almost like cartoonish, but it is amazing at the same fucking time because it is so wild. It's on HBO Max. It's not long. It's like an hour and a half. Next time you guys are just like stoned as fuck, watch House.
Cool.
Another one that I watched. So this is a little bit more of a deep cut, kind of a crazy one. So I bought these during quarantine, and I hadn't watched all 3 of them yet. That's okay. So I got 3 of them. But the second one, this is Quatermass 2. So what this is about, there's a scientist named Quatermass who's basically, it has to do a lot, these movies have to do with like, aliens. Nice. And this one basically is him kind of investigating this government agency that's noticing these kind of like blips coming up on their like satellite radar and finding out what would lead to alien it. Okay. These movies are really cool. They're from the 50s. They're British. They're very different from like the American 50s horror movies of like kind of creature features and what would lead into being like the Vincent Price takeover and shit like that. Okay. Quatermass is very cool. There's Quatermass 2, and
Quatermass 3.
Quatermass, which I have not watched yet, but that apparently is like that's the real deal. That's after that, I watched The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Ah, yes, an Andrew movie.
I love that movie.
So I had not seen this movie.
We should watch it together.
Good. This movie was very, very good. But it's like incredibly bizarre.
Are you about to say
Colin Farrell is in it.
Oh,
Yep.
Sorry, were you on Team Farrell or Team McConaughey?
For True Detective.
No,
McConaughey.
Who was the better actor?
McConaughey.
You were saying McConaughey.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we were talking about this movie. Andrew brought it up. Continue.
But this movie's it's like you're watching a movie about people that it's almost like you're watching an alternate universe, because their lifestyle and like just like emotion, like there's the emotion that's in it is so void and so hard to kind of like understand because it's so strange. It's a very strange movie, but basically Colin Farrell plays a surgeon who you find out was an alcoholic, and he, due to his malpractice, ends up making a fatal mistake during a surgery. And the son of the man who died during the surgery has kind of like become someone that he's taken under his wing, but then he kind of invades his... I don't want to get too far into it because when you actually find out how it all plays out, it's extremely disturbing and it's extremely fucked up. But the guy that plays the fucking kid, who's named Martin,
he was also in the Banshees of Inisherin.
Barry Keoghan.
Yeah,
He plays Joker in the Batman.
Unbelievably chilling fucking performance. So incredibly bizarre and just outrageously unnerving. Like, this movie was just the whole time I kind of like sat like with like my hand over my mouth and just been like, oh my god. Like it's one of the most uncomfortable movies I've seen in
It's A24, right?
It is.
Okay.
And that's only because this came out in like 2017.
Yeah.
And other movies had come out after that are uncomfortable and had made me feel weird, but this being only seen now, I was really just like, holy fuck. Very dark, very bleak movie, but extremely original and creative and well done. So that was one of my other ones, and the other one I watched was Hobo with a Shotgun.
Oh,
saw that you watched.
I want to talk about that movie. I love that fucking. We should do that on the podcast.
This was a very fun watch.
Okay.
Great movie.
was awesome.
Rutger
This
Hauer.
movie's insane.
Oh, yeah.
This is Canadian slime at its finest.
What is it? Hobo the.
It might as
Hobo
well
with
be
a shotgun.
This is like a Death Wish movie. It's like the same.
Yeah,
thing.
and like, dude, it starts off with Ricky from Trailer Park Boys getting decapitated.
Yeah.
And it was
Which is
just,
awesome.
it was so over the top the entire time. This movie is a slimeball masterpiece. Absolute. It's like if Eli Roth was a Canadian guy and he just had no rules.
Speaking of which, if I'm not mistaken, this originally was a trailer during Grindhouse by Tarantino, correct?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think you're
Which
right
we
there.
also, you weren't here last week, we're talking about the fact that Eli Roth is finally moving forward with that Thanksgiving movie,
yeah.
which is all but confirmed to be my friend.
Right?
Baby.
We could be extra.
Yeah, but Hobo,
Right?
Hobo with a shot. Well, I don't think it's going to be filmed in Plymouth. That's neither here nor there. But it's going to take. We will have a Plymouth set.
Oh, Plymouth would never
horror
let that
movie,
happen.
folks.
No,
Yeah.
that's what I said.
Fuckers.
So yeah, but what I was saying was I think Hobo with a Shotgun was one of those figures as well, along
Yeah.
with Rob Zombie trailer, and there was did one. Edgar Wright did one too.
Yeah.
Continue.
It is so yeah, it's I'm just gonna say it's so over the top. It is right up in the caliber of like Terrifier, of just being so the practical effects are immaculate, and at the same time they are so fucking it's on Tubi. This is another quick like I don't know,
We'll watch
year in and year out. It's brutal, dude.
I saw that when it first came out. I was like, I fucking love the fuck
Was
out
it
of
2011?
It is so.
I think
it is
yeah.
such a fun movie.
All right.
Yeah,
Something
it's
like that.
this is like if you're just trying to watch just like senseless fucking
Yeah.
gore. Like this is
Cool.
that's what I got. That's
I haven't
why
seen that
watch
movie
this
since the first time I saw it. I need to watch it. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else?
Anybody else?
I put on Monsters the other morning.
You did put on Monsters Inc., and I relate to you that I've actually never seen Monsters Inc. before
I also
in my
saw
life.
Monsters Inc. solid.
Monsters Inc.'s phenomenal. I just watched Ice.
Mike's never seen Monsters.
We
Inc.
watched
know, I just said that.
Moana or whatever.
Oh, I watched Moana the other day too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Moana.
Oh, it's so good.
Layla was into it.
I love Moana.
She was like audibly like gasping at like intense part. I'm like, how are you so smart? What the fuck?
Yeah. Kids.
Yeah, babies grow up quick, man.
Yeah.
I did see everything, everywhere, all at once.
All right. Synopsis
Pretty good
and
movie.
sorry, not synopsis, but your thoughts quickly.
Very long. 2 hours and 20 minutes. Should have been about an hour and 45 minutes. It would have been fine. There was a lot of scenes. Very cool concept for a movie. Very fun. Kind of like The Matrix a little bit, but not taking
Goofy.
itself
Yeah.
nearly as serious.
yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis, awesome.
Well, she won best actress.
Kei Kwei Han.
Yes, I was like The Goonies or
Yep,
and
Short Round.
He was phenomenal. He sounds and looks exactly the same as he did.
I probably mispronounced his name.
The acting in this movie was phenomenal. The dialogue was phenomenal. The just general theme of the movie was. I would check it out. It was
Okay.
very good.
All right.
Best picture of the year, maybe not, but very good.
So did you like Banshees of Inisherin or that movie better?
Me personally, I prefer Banshees of Inisherin.
Did you see all the movies that were nominated? Though?
What
Yay.
else was not?
Several other movies.
Yeah, what were they?
I don't know off the top of my head.
When they
I
go
saw
on
those
Paradise.
two.
Top Gun Maverick was nominated.
I fucking love that movie, so I did see that one.
What else?
That
There
wouldn't be
were a
my
bunch.
best picture.
Tar,
Top
I
Gun.
think.
Yeah, Tar
Tar
was,
like just came out though.
Hold on. I'll tell you if you give me
The
a second.
Colin
All
Farrell
Quiet
one.
on the Western Front.
That
was-
actually
yep.
might be my number one. That movie was awesome.
I haven't seen that yet.
keep
I heard
saying
it's
that.
sick.
Check it out.
I'm gonna get it on 4K because it's available.
Ooh.
I'd
I don't
like
know if
to.
I've ever seen anything in
Very
4K.
good.
It's pretty sick.
That's a
All
very
right, so the
bleak
Best Picture
movie, too.
nominees
Yeah.
were as follows: All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water,
Fuck that movie.
the band. Yep, fuck that movie indeed. The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at
Elvis
Once,
is trash.
The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, never heard of it, and Women Talking. But I repeat myself. Women be talking, but I.
Are we gonna start the draft?
Yes, we are. Anyway,
Jesus
oh my
Christ.
God.
I was gonna say I don't like when cat talks. Does that mean I wouldn't like women talking?
This might be one of the most important drafts we've ever done.
I know.
This is a banger.
Before we get to that, guys, why don't we take a quick 90-second break to get a word from our sponsors? We'll be right back.
Snake draft. We're gonna do this. I'm nervous.
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spooktacular.
Enter the new black hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's America's horror theme park. Spooky World.
Don't be scared. I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula.
Biffle, here's the super sweet new cereal, Frankenberry.
But I've got chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor.
Well, I've got berry-flavored sweeties for monster strawberry flavor.
Count Chocula.
Frankenberry.
Hi.
Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
Sleepy Clovers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's killer this year. Then be next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
Noivus.
And we're back! Guys, we're doing a draft. I know some people had some questions about how this draft gets going.
Same as always?
Hey, same as always.
I will. Do everyone a favor.
We should do an auction draft one of these
I'll
days.
volunteer to go first.
CK.
Okay.
Oh, well, that'd be
Yeah.
well, sweet of you.
That is very
CK
sweet
over
of
there,
you.
or
I mean,
whatever is CK.
one of the reasons I married you is that
It
you're
was
very,
CK.
very sweet.
Yeah, I was like,
I mean, I know. It's
Unfortunately,
hard for-
I have to say I just randomized the list, and
No one witnessed
It's
it.
me again, isn't it?
no one witnessed it, but it did actually come out with Cat first.
Oh my god! That's okay
That's
then.
fine. Scream.
Mike 2,
No.
Matt 3, Andrew 4. That's what we're looking at.
Oh, I got
for
the.
number
I
of
love
guys.
being at the end of the draft.
The
baby.
wraparound.
The
Matt and
wraparound.
Andrew
The
both
reach
get
around
2
pick.
picks in a row. So, guys, just so you know, we have not done a draft since the end of January, where we were drafting anthology segments of horror TV series and movies. And right now we're going to be talking about kills and or deaths from horror movies, which I think gives us a wide range of movies and topics and deaths to pick
Oh,
from.
I'm so tiny.
I would wager a guess, if I were a betting person, since betting is now legal in Massachusetts, that we're probably going to have differing lists.
Yes.
I know
Or
Matt's,
will we?
Matt's list will be different from Kat's, from Andrew's, from mine. We shall see. But guys, this is why we're doing a draft, because whoever picks first, pick first, and that's the one. We build a team
I
here.
feel left out now because you guys all have cute names for your fucking kills. Like these little.
Well, think of them.
Some of them do.
I've got one.
You're
I
drafting
was only
third,
so
so you have
creative,
some
dude.
time. You have some
I've
time.
got-
Yeah, I mean, I made like a 4-word thing. That's all I did. So anyway, we're doing a snake draft, which just means that we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're familiar with fantasy football or fantasy baseball, you may have heard of it. But anyway, without further ado, to Gato for the first pick.
So I believe this might be a little.
I'm sure it's
You
going to
have
be
the
something
first
that
pick.
nobody
Yes.
else has on the list.
Oh, okay. My first pick, Terrifier. The
Bedroom?
girl that gets sliced in half.
That's the first one.
The Terrifier
Fail.
1.
Yep.
The one that the girl gets sliced in half.
Yes.
That's my first pick.
See, now I fail again.
Because that was on my list too. But
Okay.
Kat
So,
doesn't know what movie she's talking
It's
about.
Art
so
the
cool.
Clown that kills Terrifier 1.
That is honestly like I remember that kill because
Violence.
we watched. So shortly after Matt came
That
on
was
as
the
a
first one?
full time.
That was the second?
No, that was
It
the
was
first
the
one.
first
The
one.
first one.
You're
So
asking
when
me.
Matt came on
I
the
know.
show
All right.
full time, we asked Matt like what he wanted to talk about for an episode, and he said Terrifier, and we watched it. Me, you, and Andrew watched it here at the house. And I remember when I was watching that scene, I as Matt said, I audibly gasped. I was
Yes.
oh my god!
Did you guys feel like you kind of got in over your heads, like taking me on?
No, not really.
not at all.
No. I mean,
That's good.
No.
it was
like I like this guy.
Yeah, it was fucked for sure.
Yeah.
It's a very like
Fucking
one
wild.
of the goriest deaths that you'll ever see, and not for the faint. I mean, obviously
That is
Yeah,
a first
like,
round
whew.
seed.
that
That is
really-
a number one pick.
And,
Oh
like,
yeah, that's a great pick.
when you
Phenomenal
first
pick.
mentioned doing a draft like this, I was like, oh, well, obviously the girl from Terrifier that gets sliced in
Yeah.
half is probably going to go first.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because that's just obnoxious.
It's up there.
brutal. Like,
It's up there. Certainly is up there.
That's harsh.
so that's my number.
Good job.
Hey, shout out to Art the Clown.
Number
Fuck
one.
yeah, Cat, way to
Was
go.
that an upset? Was that an upset? Did anyone else have that on the list?
I did
It was
not
on my
have
list,
that on
but
my list.
I didn't expect
Do
to.
you know what upset means? I feel like that is not.
Yeah.
upset's not the correct.
You'd be like, oh, you picked
An upset would have been like if you took like a
Okay.
deep. That's why I was like, that's a number one seed. Like that's expected
that's
to
a
be a
UConn
top
getting to
pick.
the Final Four.
All right, so that means that I'm number 2 here. So I'm going to go with a franchise you've heard of, a kill you probably don't know. I'm not talking to Andrew because they probably both.
Oh, wow.
So,
you're talking to me.
You haven't seen, I know for a fact you haven't seen this movie.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. Like I'm not making.
What is it?
So Alien is one of my favorite movies of all time. Now I'm not going to pick that scene. The recent Alien movies that have come out are not as bad as you remember. I know we've talked about in this podcast that they're all pretty good. Alien Covenant is a great movie, and a great kill and a disgusting kill is the first vision of the neomorph, xenomorph. There's a few different names for it in that particular movie, where Michael Fassbender's character is cooking this up in the lab. But essentially, there's a guy that has the alien, instead of bursting out of his chest in the first movie, comes out of his back. And it is fucking disgusting and gross, and it's definitely CGI. But it looks very, very cool. And I thought the first time I saw Alien Covenant in theaters by myself, and the first time I saw this scene, I was absolutely blown away. It was so fucking weird and gross, and I was just like, I can see how this is leading up to Alien, and I love this kill. It was so, yeah,
Gross.
yes. Anybody else?
Great kill.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Very underrated movie.
I like
Glad
that
you
movie a
brought it
lot.
up. That's one of my favorite Alien movies. That might be my third favorite Alien.
Behind Alien.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Prometheus would be 4. At least.
I love Prometheus.
So you think
Do we
it's
all
better
agree
than
that
Covenant,
Alien
or-
3
I think there's no Covenant.
they're also-
There is no Covenant without Prometheus.
This is true. Prometheus is pretty good.
I think I have to appreciate Prometheus for being a sneak.
Yeah. Very sneaky at the end. Yeah.
Very good.
But the Backburster and Alien Covenant, do yourself a favor. You haven't seen that movie? Fan of Alien?
Great pick.
Yep. That's
pick.
my first overall pick. Surprise.
Surprise. I was thinking
Which
Jaws,
means-
but that was...
No, see, I'm not going to be that obvious. I feel like I'd be cutting corners if I
Disingenuous,
did
yeah.
that. Yeah. So, all right, third pick, Matt.
All right, I have to take this one because it'll get taken. It's the Texas Chainsaw.
Knew it.
God,
I
this
knew
close.
that. Yep. I had that on my
This
list.
is my
but I
favorite
knew
horror
you were gonna
movie
take
of all time.
Yeah.
As we are aware.
This is the first time you see Leatherface. It is the most devastating fucking thing you've ever seen in a horror movie ever. Followed by the most iconic fucking door slam sound anything ever. Everything that has to do with the scene, the pure pulp of what horror.
It's epic. It's classic.
It's epic.
Yeah.
It is epic. It is. Yeah.
It's unforgettable.
Unforgettable. All those words.
Unforgettable.
Oh my god, you guys! Wow.
I like how we both...
The only part of the movie that could be kind of like argued is him grabbing the girl running out of the room. But at that point, you already know. Going into this movie, seeing it for the first time, you have no idea what's going. You hear that fucking noise,
I was going
dude.
to say, yeah.
That clap of just steel hitting a skull.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gross.
And
Solid
the
gross.
fucking
It's- yeah.
seized up, the guy seizing on the floor.
Yeah, that I would say the seizing on the floor is the worst part for me because, like, obviously you hear the sound and it's just like that's how a person
the trauma
dies.
that's
Yeah.
going through
It's
his...
so fucking.
And then that one last clap, and then you drag him through, you slam the door shut. And at that point in that movie, you have absolutely no fucking idea what hides behind that door.
An icon is born.
You see that scene and you go, what the fuck, M2? It's good.
I think that is, if I had, it's got to be
that's the
top
best.
5, one of the most important horror ever
It's like-
fucking
yeah.
filmed.
Also, could you imagine like sitting in a movie theater, like a dank, dreary movie theater in the early 70s, watching this movie and seeing that scene before, like, obviously this. Jesus Christ, how long?
There's probably people
50
getting like
years ago.
sucked off like in the same row as you.
Right?
Like it's just some dingy ass like.
Could you imagine watching
Disgusting
that? It'd be
theater.
so fucking crazy to see, and like back then. I don't know.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
That's one of those movies that if it did, like they got the Big Lebowski is going to be in theaters. Like,
Well, dude, like I always say, like if I had a time machine, I wouldn't even. I would go back and just when they released.
just pick them when they were first came out because it would be amazing. Like just to see Jaws when it first came out too.
At the
that's
Exorcist,
it.
exactly. So that's going to be my
Alien.
first pick. Is
It's
that
a
is the
great
first
pick.
kill of the Texas Chainsaw.
So Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I had it listed as Mallet to the Head. What did you have for your little cute pet name?
Hammerhead.
Hammerhead. Okay, which means that we are to Andrew.
You loser.
Loverboy,
So since I have back-to-back picks, I can
Godfather
go
for
either way
one
I
of
want to
two.
go here. I'm going to go with the kill that I call Stop, Drop, Ash.
Open up shop.
And this is from the 2000 Irreversible, the fire extinguisher.
Oh,
My God.
dude.
Have you guys
This is-
switched bodies?
Head
This is on my
smash.
list.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I got to pick this. I thought you were going to first.
Nope. It would have been an honorable mention. This
Okay.
would not have made my top 5.
I forgot about this. It's a very good scene. Most people probably haven't seen it.
I've not seen
Cat's
a
never
Gaspar.
gonna watch this.
No.
Don't ever watch this movie.
Okay. Noted. Not on my list.
But it's like in the first 20 minutes of the movie. It's pretty early on, right? And it's like
Only because it's in backwards.
well, it's in backwards. So it's at
chronological
the end of the movie, but it's really in the beginning. It's basically like Marcus and Pierre go into it. Marcus that's about to get like raped by these men. Pierre jumps in. I can't remember who's smashing who's.
Well, no, they're trying to find.
Well, they're looking for her, but they're in that club, and then
They're trying to find the guy that
yes, that's the guy.
attacked her.
Yep. And then they're in this place, and then these guys are like surrounding him, right?
Did you ever notice that?
Did you watch this movie?
I did, but I feel like it's a very confusing
All the
movie.
It
details
is very
don't matter.
confusing because the
you don't have to,
cinematography
like-
is incredibly confusing.
It's
all over
disorienting.
the place.
Yeah,
You don't have to give,
I
like,
can
a
barely
whole
remember the names, but yeah, like the
breakdown
guy
here.
just
That's all
literally smashes his fucking head in with a fire extinguisher, like 15, like a lot of times before it's done. Like you can stop at any point, and it's just like smash, smash. It's
Yeah, you're watching somebody get their head.
it's like in a flat pancake at that point. It's so
Did they get the right guy?
I don't think wasn't that the wrong guy? Yeah, that was just some like weird guy that was just.
What a
doing
brutal
weird
movie.
Stuff, too. that movie's like.
Abhorrent. Yeah,
hard to watch.
It's a rough, but it is so incredibly well made. Yeah.
That's like it sells.
Those are the.
movie.
That's the kind of movie that's the brutality pays off because the movie is so incredibly well made.
Yeah, you can get away with that because
There's movies
it's
that are
very well
brutal
done.
that are poorly made that are not worth subjecting yourself to the content because they're
Yeah.
and that's like Megan is Missing. Like that movie is fucking terrible. Don't.
And I've never gone
it's
to
not
it
worth
because-
it. Like because you're just like gonna watch awful content, but the way the acting and the story, it's just so bad. It's like why am I even gonna subject myself to terribleness? Yeah, it's just not.
If you
worth
give me
it.
a good storyline,
I mean, yeah, that's up to you. But I think Irreversible hits the note of being brutal, but also being incredibly well done.
it hits both. It strikes both.
Okay. That means, Andrew, you have one of two down. What's number two
I'm
going
gonna go
to
with
be?
Bone Cock Tomahawk.
Oh, you fucker. See, I was actually surprised. This is what I was talking about when I said that Kat just picked a similar kill from a
Yeah,
different
it is.
movie. Because I had this on my list.
It's like the same kill.
This is more
This
disgusting.
is more upsetting in so many ways
It's
because
way
it's
more.
happening
It's
to
worse.
a guy and I'm a guy.
Yeah.
And the sound too in this kill is just like first off, like Kurt Russell's like trapped in this weird cell and they drag out his buddy or whoever the fuck he is. They scalp him, hang him upside down, and then proceed to just hatchet his groin wide open and that crunch. It's
So
upsetting.
allow me to describe what I wrote down for this
Yeah, I'd
about
love to hear
how
that,
this
'cause I
death actually happens. Okay, so yes, you're correct. Kurt Russell's in a cage, which this movie has Kurt Russell in it. It's awesome, but this part is just absolute.
Gross.
Like honestly, like I'm not even kidding. Probably the most disturbing death scene I've ever seen on camera in my entire life.
It makes you get that weird body feeling where you're like, I feel like this
I
is
shouldn't be
hurting me in
watching
areas.
this. Yeah, I don't want
want
to
to watch this anymore.
So basically, Kurt Russell's in a cage. His buddy, I forgot the name, comes out. These are cannibal Native Americans. They strip him naked. They take him, hang him up by his ankles. They scalp him while alive. They take his scalp, they shove it in his mouth along with his hair to shut him the fuck up as a gag. And they shove an axe in his mouth, break all of his teeth, and they take that same axe and they chop him from the groin down the middle. The entire way, and they show it, and it is fucking disgusting. It is like it is,
Yeah,
and then
I didn't
it
like
basically
that whole, like chopping. So you just
the two Native Americans take the body and they just
Like
split it apart.
It's a fucking wishbone.
It's disgusting.
Sonic.
Honestly, it
It's
is
a brutal,
the most.
disgusting
And
scene.
yeah, it's bad. I will never forget where I was the first time I saw this. Like not really too much. Really
Grosses
sticks
me out.
Really
That
sticks with
grosses
me.
me out.
That really like stuck with me in a way that I was like,
Yucky way.
I'm not okay with
Christ.
this. Yeah. So that's the bisection they call it scene from Bone Tomahawk.
Hell yeah.
Andrew, what a pick! It was going to be picked by me. If you
That's
didn't
why I
pick
was like,
it,
I've
so,
got to
yeah.
get them both before you two get them. So
Yeah. All right.
those are both
God,
your picks.
I feel like I need an episode of Seinfeld after that.
It can be done.
Yeah, I
This
know.
is a yucky episode.
I know, right?
Well, it is yes.
Hey, Matt, that means we're back to you for another happy time here, right?
Oh, is it me?
Joy, joy.
Yeah, right, because you're after. So we went from Andrew to you.
Okay.
Then to me, to Kat.
Happy joy.
I'm gonna go with
Great pick.
the nanny diving out.
Oh,
that one, I thought you were going to go with the
I thought you
other
were going to go
one.
decapitation.
Or the
No.
spike through the guy's
The decapitation is very good, but there's something about a nanny hanging herself at a children's birthday party that is
So
incredibly
wholesome.
fucking. The whole "it's all for you, Damien." It's again the first kill of the movie. The first time I saw this movie, this shocked me, and it wasn't the idea of what was happening, but it was the portrayal of it on film, looking incredibly real. She jumps, you hear the snap of the neck, you see her swing back and hit the window, shatters the glass. It was just unbelievable to see in a movie. It's just like, that lady just fucking killed herself.
Yeah.
It's like, I think she actually...
Yeah, that lady's dead.
This lady's probably dead.
That's the thing about that age of movies, is they did it so well. It
The
seems
70s
so
were the
real.
fucking
Yeah.
tits, man.
Yeah.
This one was a big one for me. Like, always, every time I watch this movie, I get a chill up my spine every time I see it. So yeah, The Omen, the nanny, the suicide right at the beginning.
Golf clap. Keep golf clapping. All right, so that is the nanny suicide. That means it's to me and to Kat. So I'm going to go with my here. And I feel like this is the greatest feat in the history of practical special effects ever captured on. And it is the defibrillator scene from The Thing.
Hell yeah.
I mean, guys, you want to talk about an unbelievable death scene. You see a corpse on a gurney, and a guy goes to resuscitate him, and his stomach opens up into a cavern of teeth from an alien beast and proceeds to bite his arms off. This guy comes up with stump arms, screaming, dies. Tentacles explode out of this guy's stomach. Worms everywhere. And then basically they fucking finally kill this thing.
Not before his head stretches out into a fucking spider.
Walking out of the room, and you get the greatest line in the history of cinema. Palmer, right? Is it Palmer?
Fuck.
The guy with the fro that was smoking weed. Anyway, Palmer. I think it's Palmer. Maybe it's not Palmer. Anyway, you gotta be fucking kidding. And then Kurt Russell lights the thing up with the flamethrower. But I mean, my God, the guy getting his arms bit off by the stomach monster with the thing. Find me a more iconic death.
You know that
come on.
That was the one and only chance they had at getting the shot. They only had that effect one time.
I probably did
because they had to light it on fire.
The amount of work did
not know that right now. Wow. I mean, so
make it count.
Even better. Even better. So yeah, The Thing, the defibrillator scene.
Great
My God, I feel like if I didn't pick that, I would have hated myself forever.
It's wild.
So that means that we're to Kat for one of two, because we got one more in this round and one more in another round.
Good. You're not gonna guess.
It's gonna be something from Scream.
Nope.
I bet.
Nope. It's
Bet you it's on my list.
from Hereditary.
Yep, it's on my list.
It's the girl that sticks her head out the
Honorable
window.
mentions, yes.
Nice.
Charlie.
Honorable mentions.
Because I knew somebody was going to pick this.
Yeah.
If somebody didn't pick this, I would have been amazed.
I know.
Charlie was her name. Charlie.
It is, yes. And
Charlie bit me.
And this death was like, I don't remember. But
Surprised you remember watching the movie.
Oh my God, I've seen it a few times. Yes.
You were definitely with me.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was definitely with you. And I remember watching it, and then all of a sudden she had her head out the window, and suddenly it was just snapped, and you were just like, "Oh my God, did that just happen?"
Never felt more stress in my life when that happened. I
saw that in theaters.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
We might have seen theaters.
We didn't.
Well, it was the stress that was built up because she's having the allergic
Oh
reaction.
my god! Yeah.
She already
Just
can't breathe.
sticks her head out the
And
window.
now-
It's fine.
You know,
Bye,
that
And
happens.
you're just like, oh my god! And then you're looking at what's
Could you
her
imagine
face?
being the brother in that situation?
No, I honestly, I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
And just
What did I do?
continuing to drive home and go to
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
What the
probably
fuck?
Right.
Like, talk about sticking your head in the ground like a fucking ostrich. Like, that's
Yeah.
like,
Oh
I didn't do
my God.
anything.
that just like kicked off the whole movie, but that was like shocking. It's
Well,
still,
you
like,
see the trailer, you don't know what the movie's about, and that happens,
Yeah.
and you're like, Jesus Christ!
What the hell
like,
am I
yeah.
watching? Yeah, wild.
Yep.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah,
that was
I mean,
on my list.
Great death, great
It was?
kill.
Yeah.
It was on. It was.
Wow.
I knew somebody was going to pick it, so I had it in my honorable mentions. Like if somebody hadn't mentioned it, obviously would have brought it up. That was, I feel like, one of the more shocking deaths in any horror movie last.
In
Yeah.
terms of just like not expecting,
Yeah, like,
yeah.
I would have never, ever expected that. I feel like not only is killing a kid in any movie, especially horror movies, like kind of taboo, like it never really happens. That was like out of fucking left field. I was,
And then you get to see the head.
Yes.
yeah, gross.
That's even
Yeah.
more just like
Okay.
ugh, and there's like flies buzzing all around.
Oh,
it.
ants and
Yeah,
shit.
it's-
Yeah,
Ugh.
it was fucking miserable.
Cat, great
That's
pick.
not such an unnecessary scene. It's not really we're doing this.
Nope,
it
not
holds
according to
there for
Ari
a minute.
Aster. So, Kat, you got another pick coming up here. That's Hereditary, baby.
Okay. My next pick. We're doing 4 picks.
Yeah, we're doing 4. Let's do 4.
It's in Jurassic
Damn.
by the T-Rex.
I thought Andrew was going to pick this one. Uh-oh. Were you thinking of it still?
That's such like a poor son of a bitch. Dad.
It's yeah.
That's not the Jurassic Park movie.
Imagine
scene
being
I'm
the guy that died on the toilet. That guy that got eaten off the
That
toilet.
I gotta be
guy
honest,
got
though, if I'm
eaten
gonna
off
die-
the toilet.
If I die taking a shit, I'm gonna be pretty happy. As long as I got to at least complete and I haven't wiped it, I'm like, oh, I don't even have to wipe
Then
it.
you get eaten
All right,
by
hold
a
on, wait.
dinosaur. You're like, well, fuck it.
Can you name the
It's
name
too
of the
late
character that got eaten?
Oh no,
Can you name
I can't.
it? Okay.
The
Can you?
blood-sucking lawyer.
It's
Yes,
not-
that's correct.
it
Do you know
is.
his name?
I don't remember his
I
name.
don't.
Do you know his
I
name?
absolutely don't know.
Donald Gennaro.
Oh.
None
I
of
don't
you have
even-
ever read Jurassic Park before?
No.
No.
Of course, nerds.
Okay.
My Michael Crichton collection. must be-
Crichton?
Yeah, whatever. My Michael Crichton collection is lacking.
Oh, you never read Jurassic Park? You would actually really like it.
I probably
It's really-
would.
It's very good. It's actually a really easy. It's
Yeah.
good. It's good. Anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, I feel like that's a memorable kill in my head. Like I will never forget the scene.
When
that
you gotta
guy-
go, you
it's-
gotta go.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
All-time line by Jeff Goldblum.
Oh my
who's
god,
still
Jeff.
the man.
Yeah, he's on too.
Where's
But
he
yeah.
going? You gotta go.
You gotta go.
Great scene.
Yeah.
Great scene. Good scene.
Thank you. Thanks.
Props.
All
Even though
right.
I'm the one that told you about that scene, then you
See,
stole it
so
from
now
me.
no,
that's fun.
what? No,
Imagine
you
the
didn't
feeling
tell
of
me.
simultaneously
We talked about that
having
like,
to
Sunday, and
go
I
to the
brought that
bathroom
scene
and
up, and
see
you
a
went,
T-Rex.
"Oh, I like that scene. I'm gonna
Sucks so
take it."
bad.
And you stole
I
it.
bet it's
Oh,
not
you
that
know
uncommon.
what? Maybe I did. Maybe that's why I remember.
Like, she 100% stole that scene. I told her about that on
Yeah,
Sunday.
I might
Remember?
have stolen it. So it's too bad.
Call her out. Call her out. So, wait, Andrew. What
I
are
already
you?
yeah.
did. I told her. I told
It's
her about the
called
scene.
a
She goes, "I
draft.
like that scene." Then she just steals it.
Well,
from
guess
me.
what? I
You
got
don't even
a
remember that
draft
movie. You
with
don't
the
even
new
remember half the shit you
Jurassic
watched.
Park. I know Jurassic
She
Park.
is.
Are
She
you
is
kidding
right.
me?
You could have picked it earlier if you.
Yeah.
were that
That's
passionate
not a
about
top
it.
2 pick.
No,
My 2
and I
pick.
didn't. I picked it.
It's pretty good though.
3's not a bad pick for that. Thank you.
All right, so that means it's back to me. Which let's see here. What am I gonna do? All right, so I'm a sucker for '80s music, especially.
Oh,
Love me. Any '80s music, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for it. My parents used to listen to them all the time, and whenever I saw American Psycho, and parts of the movie were set to Phil Collins and Huey Lewis in the News, I was just like, oh my god, this is the movie.
Is that your favorite album? Sports?
No, not sports. No, but when oh my god, when he's killing Paul, set to Huey Lewis, hip to be square. It's just great. Chasing him around the apartment with an axe, incredible. So
Giving backstory on Huey Lewis the whole time.
Yeah,
Just like,
yeah.
that's
I feel like
fucking so
my
good.
first two have been alien related. I'm looking for something a little bit more lighthearted here, so I'm going with the.
I don't know if I would call this lighthearted, but yes, I guess.
A little bit more lighthearted than
pretty
The Thing
sadistic.
or Alien Covenant, I suppose. Still,
In the most human way possible.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, American Psycho. I feel like one of the movies that just continues to fly under the radar. It's really at all.
I think I started watching,
It's a very good movie.
or maybe I kind of watched it one day, but I feel like that happened.
There's that. That's okay. You can always rewatch it.
Yeah.
Yep, so American Psycho. That's it for me, which means that we're going next to Mr. Matt.
I'm gonna go with the 1973 classic, The Wicker Man. And that's going to be the burning of the ultimate slow burn movie. The ultimate European cult movie. The first time I saw this, it's like you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. It's not good. But when you do actually watch, and you watch what happens for a good 11 minutes. You watch it happen. And to have him put up in this gigantic wicker man with a bunch of farm animals, which they let afire, that you have to listen to scream to death for...
And no farm animals were...
Apparently no farm animals were harmed. They ensured that they were all okay.
I find that hard to believe, but...
It sounded very real to me.
I just came up with a very... light the way.
The one that I had for it... The one that I had for it was Burn Within the Wicker Man, which is what they're singing as he dies. But and him inside singing all of his like Christian tunes it's unbelievable. Like, my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. Like as fire is just raging through it. It's just like it is so fucking intense, and it's just so unprecedented. And to watch all the other people down there just dancing and singing, and like this is a glorious event for them, and all they're doing is just seeing this guy and a bunch of animals. Fuck, phenomenal. Dude, like what an incredibly bleak fucking to have come out so long ago.
So long ago.
And set a precedent. Actually 50 years this year. Jesus. And to set a precedent for like a lot of the movies come out now. This is there's no Midsommar without The Wicker Man.
That's
this. I've always loved this. I've always thought it was so brilliantly written, and that ending, the ultimate horror.
It's a great scene. It's a great movie.
It's my
great pick.
Okay.
Me,
Andrew.
Okay.
Vados.
There's so many good picks, but I like to go with like my favorite.
Can I call what you're picking?
I'd love to hear it.
You're picking the spiky ball scene.
Oh, the orb? No.
Where the guy pisses.
That's up there. It's a great scene. But I really like the movie Sinister.
Ooh,
and it's not the scene you think it is. Because I know you're thinking, oh, it's the lawnmower.
That's what I was thinking. Scene. Yeah.
Nope, not the garage scene either. To me, there's nothing worse than drowning. So the pool scene, when they're all on the fucking like lawn chairs and all four just get pulled into the pool at the same time by the rope and they're just drowning, that's so horrifying to me. And that's such a fucking brutal way to die. And it's actually probably... It's less painful, but the panic that sets in and knowing that you can't not drown. And then water, dirty, clean water that's probably got some like, mold and mildew in it. It's like, this is gross. I don't want to do that. Like, at least with the lawnmower, your face chopped up real fast and you're done. That, not so much. The
lawnmower definitely fucking probably sucks.
Lawnmower one, dude.
Yeah, that probably takes up because is that like dull blaze on the lawnmower, or is it like a fresh ass lawnmower blaze?
Doesn't matter. You're dead anyway, dude. You're dead anyway.
Yeah, you're.
It's good. You're dead.
You're
but how fast?
Dude, you better hope it's sharp, because if it's dull, you're dying slower.
Yeah.
No fucking.
I feel like every kill in that movie's horrible.
It's awful.
So,
that movie's so.
I feel
terrible.
so yucky.
It is fun though.
It's such a terrible way to die. You're just hanging out with your family and they're like, you know what, we're drowning you. Oh, cool. Hey.
Nice. All right. So that's Sinister from 2012.
The last pick, Andrew, is what?
Go ahead.
So, I've been debating. One movie, Silence of the Lambs, is way better. But there's also two really cool and I think I'm actually going to go with Ray Liotta. Lecter slices his head off. And he's just like picking parts of his brain out and sauteing and feeding them to him. And Julianne Moore's just there watching the whole thing. That's such a fucked up scene. And it gets even better when like it ends and Lecter's on the plane with this little like Asian kid. And he's like, oh, I don't want any of that. I want some of that. And he's like feeding him Ray Liotta's brain. It's so fucked. It's a great kill because he's just like, Liotta's like doesn't know what's going on. He's being like a misogynistic prick the whole time to Julianne. And he's just like getting his brain eaten by Lecter. It's such a good.
Nice. And wait, which movie? Which
Hannibal.
Hannibal. Okay, excellent. Yes, I knew it was one of the three. But which one?
The Hannibal.
Okay.
And then it goes back to Matt.
Sure does, Mr. Matt. What do we got next?
The last.
Nothing.
Wouldn't expect.
I mean, nothing fun.
I'm going to go with Speak No Evil.
Oh, God,
from 2022.
Good God Almighty!
And it will be the stoning death of the two.
It's so bad.
I'm only picking this because this was this ending sequence of a movie was extremely like I couldn't let this go for like
Yeah.
I had actually just forgotten about it, and now you reminded me. Now my brain not functioning properly. It's
Welcome
like,
back.
Life sucks.
Welcome back, Mr. Byers.
Damn it.
The ending of this movie is one of the hardest. I'm just gonna leave just hardest fucking end. I think I've said it on the podcast before. This movie bullies you. And to have your child ripped away with her tongue snipped out in front of you, only gagging on her own blood, ripped away by a stranger in a foreign land, and then to be stripped naked and stoned to death by the people that did it.
It's horrendous. Absolutely.
Yeah, this
Horrifying.
This one was rough. I strategically picked the ones that I picked before this because I thought specifically they were iconic. They kind of set up a lot of the movies that we watch now because all three of those movies. This movie is from 2022, and this kind of set a new precedent for kind of like what could be endured, like what could be the stakes were raised. This was the most in terms of anything I've seen in horror movies and any kind of like even just like thriller brutal movies. This is one of the awful 15 months I have ever sat through my fucking life. This movie is so incredibly cruel and fucking brutal and vicious and that I absolutely regret watching it.
Yeah.
So you'll never watch it again?
You'll watch it again.
I
now
mean,
you've already watched
I
it.
probably will because I've already watched it.
Can't unsee
and
it.
only in terms of just kind of like understanding like the movie itself. But god damn, this was such a fucking hard watch.
It's actually one of those movies I only watch it and just like watch them
Be
while they're watching it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, fucked up, right?
I just
like,
like,
God, what am
I don't
watching?
even have anyone that I could possibly like subject this to.
Yeah.
Isn't it so funny though? That's your natural. Like I do the same thing. Like that's your natural reaction. Like, oh, I want to put this movie on for this person. So like,
it's like when you smell something awful and you're like, smell this.
Yeah. This is horrible.
No, this movie I will stand true to being like, I've seen a lot of fucked up movies. And I've seen a lot of fucked up movies that are hailed as the most fucked up movies. The last 15 minutes of this movie is some of the hardest, seriously, the hardest cinema ever watched.
Yeah, it's fucked.
It was incredibly well done. They got the point across to what they wanted to do, but god fucking damn it, dude. Like, the death scene of this family.
Welcome to Speak No Evil.
Groan-worthy.
Yes.
So that's gonna be my final pick. I'm only picking this. I had to pick one that upset me.
And that's very upsetting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the most upsetting.
Okay, that means we're to me. So, by the way, Speak No, you can stream on Shudder. Yes, and yes.
I may pee my pants.
So we're just talking about Speak No Evil, which again you can on Shudder, which means I think it's my turn, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Go.
So we're just talking about devastating deaths. I don't think there's a more devastating death in my than whatever year this movie came out. Frankenstein. When Frankenstein's monster drowns Maria, the little girl, in the lake after playing with her and looking at flowers and all this. It's obviously not as weird as it sounds right now, as it was just like playing with her. He's not like being weird or anything like that.
He's also like just like a monster.
Yeah, exactly. He's not like a crazy
he was put
like
together like a fucking
sexual predator.
Lego
He's just
set,
like Frankenstein. He's hanging out, and then all of a sudden, it's just like the most devastating. It sucks. It's,
well, he doesn't like.
Oh my god.
He doesn't like hold her head underwater.
Yeah,
but he's throwing petals of flowers.
Right.
And he just doesn't understand that once they run out, that she's a living person.
Correct.
Like, yeah.
Which makes it all that more sad is that he does not understand.
He doesn't
that,
understand.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's I would say the original dark scene in for me. So Frankenstein drowning Maria. My
Brutal.
final pick, which means we're to you, Gato.
Okay.
Can't wait to hear these. I think they're gonna be all over.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with
Come on, you got a good one. I know it.
I have a couple. I think I'm gonna go with the guy from Saw that goes through the wire.
In the first Saw?
Yeah. That he has to go. He's in a basement and he has the whole wire set up.
Yeah,
and
he
has
has
to
like
cut
the
himself pretty much into
stuff
ribbons
all over him
to get out of the thing
Ugh,
by
God,
the
yeah.
by the time it goes off and the so many
He's
times.
like covered in like fucking like oil or something.
No,
Yeah,
the oil one is the guy that burns. 'Cause he's covered in.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
that's
yeah,
a different
okay.
guy. No, but this is the guy with the razor blades, and because I think this guy had some problem, actually, kind of like a suicidal thing, but not really. But it was a weird controversy. So get out of here and be maimed pretty much for the rest of your life.
Yeah, yikes. Oof.
Those movies are really. I haven't watched those movies in a long time, and they really were fucking harsh, dude.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised it took you this long to pick a Saw movie. I thought you were going to way earlier.
I have only one Saw movie on my.
Or I meant a kill from a Saw.
Or like
movie.
a kill from a Saw movie. Yeah.
The only other thing that freaked me out that wasn't a kill though was the needle pit. Yeah, that's the only other thing that.
That's the most disturbing
really
thing I think
is.
that ever happened in all of those movies.
Yeah. Gross. Just disgusting.
That's. I mean, I can't even. That's so yucky.
It's so incredibly upsetting. And like when she finally like turns,
so yucky,
and just starts like whipping through them too. You're like, fuck, dude.
Like, oh my god. Oh,
yeah. No thanks. No
you
way.
get like the willies thing.
The willies.
The Williams.
Yucky, and I got the willies.
Don't talk about the Williams.
Yeah. So should I do an honorable mention too?
Yeah, go through your honorable, because I think we all probably have some honorable mentions.
So, the scene in the cabin in the woods when all the monsters are let loose in the elevator.
It's a lot of deaths.
It's a lot of deaths,
pretty
like,
good.
really quick,
Yep.
and then they
pretty good.
and then the thing like that was good, and then Casey Becker from Duh.
Yeah.
I had Josh from Hostel. He's the guy that gets his Achilles cut first, and then ultimately gets his throat slashed. But that Achilles cut
that
was
scene
the
was
scene
fucked.
that like I can't ever get out of my.
Him trying to stand up and walk.
Yes, and he just falls forward because his Achilles
gross.
are. Oh my god, it's
disgusting.
Oh, woo. And then I also had Midsommar at the where they're all still like.
So the thing for me that I thought was the most disturbing about that is when they wheel in the side characters that have been skinned and filled with.
Yeah.
That was like, to me, I was like that's
gross.
A lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very gross.
Yeah.
Want to go next?
I'll go next. I'm gonna only do a few.
Okay.
I'm gonna do right off the rip for sure. I'm going to do The Hills Have Eyes, and that's Big Bob getting barbecued.
Ooh, yeah.
No matter what version, of the movie you're watching, the original or remake, that scene is fuck. City of Living Dead, we're gonna watch a young lady in her car bleed out of her eyes, and then all of her body. That's a Lucio Fulci Italian just masterpiece. I'll go with Saw 2, the broken glass hand trap.
Oh
my god, that one's terrible.
Yeah,
that's a rough one. The Day of the Dead, when the guy gets the army guy gets pulled apart and he's like, fucking choke on him.
Yeah,
that's a classic. The shower scene from Psycho. Hellraiser, when the dad gets pulled apart and he's just wept. 28 Days Later, when the guy gets the droplet of blood in his eye.
Yes.
From The Crow.
Brendan Gleeson.
Awesome in that movie.
Who is also in
Banshees of Inisherin. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Zombie, the Italian movie, also from Lucio Fulci, when the woman gets pulled into the piece of wood that goes right through her eye. Cannibal Holocaust, stoned to death during a forced abortion. Yeah, that's a rough one. Funny Games, Catch a Tiger by the Toe. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I won't spoil it for those who have not seen it. Black Christmas, the girl getting plastic wrapped. House of a Thousand Corpses, Dwight becomes a fish boy. And Cabin Fever, Mercy Shovel Date is what I call this one, when Ryder's trying to take his crush out of her misery and beat her to death with a shovel because she has a flesh-eating disease.
I like it.
And I will close it out with the Final Destination 2 Freeway app.
Wow.
Because goddamn, that was fucking...
Goddamn, that's a lot of honorable mentions.
Do you know what I just
honorable
realized?
mentions.
Sorry,
What?
totally random, off topic.
Go ahead.
I've been to Inisherin.
It's not a real place.
Inisherin.
Oh, I was like in Ireland. I was like, I've been to
Not a real
Inisherin, that
place.
island.
I think they
If that
specifically
was-
say that it's not a real place.
So the movie,
Okay.
it's called The Banshees of Inisherin, is the the initial
Not a
the
real
official
place.
pronunciation of the movie. I don't know if that's the same.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
not
maybe
a,
it
re-
is.
not a real
It is.
place.
Inisherin, I went to in Ireland.
Oh, see, that's probably a place.
Yeah.
All right. So good stuff from Matt as always. Dropping some knowledge on us. Why don't we pause real quick? All right, so honorable mentions for me. This was a really tough one to pick, but I wanted to try and go outside the box, but I didn't end up picking this one. Excuse me. This is from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the opening scene where a guy gets chased by a T-Rex, almost killed by a T-Rex, only to get on a helicopter ladder by a Moses. There's that one. I also had the Lust kill from 7, which is just disgusting because you don't even really see it, but it's just described through people that were there. It's absolutely awful. The exploding head in Scanners. The fact that nobody picked that one is insane to me. The Mist. Thomas Jane. David Drayton.
That was the one.
Kills his son. The Mummy. Benny gets grubbed on by a bunch of, scarabs. Yeah. And then also Starship Troopers, underrated movie. When the guy gets his brains sucked out of his head by the proboscis, the beetles, sucks his brains out like a straw. It's gross. So awesome. I saw that movie in theaters when I was way too young. Anywho, anybody else got anything? Andrew.
So I've got from Jurassic Park when Nedry, whatever his name is, Newman.
Nedry?
It's fucking Newman.
Yeah.
And he gets, the Dilophosaurus sprays the shit all over his face and kills him, and he's trying to get his glasses off.
Yep.
Fantastic, funny scene. In No Country for Old Men, when Jaguar uses pressure valve thing that's for killing cows, and he kills that guy on the side of the road. Awesome.
That's a great one.
When Augustus Gloop falls in the chocolate river and gets sucked up to the tube, he's definitely killed, dead. And then in the Boy in the Striped Pajamas, when the little German boy sneaks over into the concentration camp and gets gassed with the Jewish boy, fucking fun in the movie.
Yeah.
Those are some of my honorable mentions.
Whew. Yikes.
A lot of
Well,
veggies.
All
we should
very
put a bow on
uplifting
this
ones.
bitch
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, well, shit. I mean, guys, a lot of movies talked about tonight. A lot of fun stuff. But, yeah, good stuff, I would
Yes.
say. Anyway, well, I think that's going to wrap it up for another episode. My name is Mike. I'm your host. I've been joined by Kat, Matt, and Andrew. Guys, lady, gentlemen, say good evening and goodbye to your audience.
Adios, mucho.
Goodbye. Later. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.